Welcome to Shore Perspectives, a community feature of WESR Radio, highlighting the spirit of the shore from those who call it home.
My name is Charles Elliott, and I'm the mayor of Wachapreague. I've been singing a long time. I believe the first song I ever wrote, I was probably around 7. And then just gradually over the years, I started writing a little bit more, a little bit more. Um, and now I'm writing a lot. I guess I started singing. Um, I was pretty young. My grandma owned an adult care home, and I would visit and chat with the elderly people there, and it kind of turned into where I was singing to them, and so that was my original audience. And I would put these shows on, dress up like Elvis or whatever, and I would sing to them. And then I remember probably about 12 years old, I would say, I did my first sock hop. And there I dressed up like Elvis, got up in front of people, and everybody was like, "You should be a singer. You should be out there singing and doing stuff." So I kind of began to pursue a career doing that. I would get into local festivals and fairs, and then it turned into other things such as going to Nashville and recording my first song. Um, I remember doing a my first show in Nashville, and it was on Nashville on Stage, and that was um, looked at by a million people. So that's kind of how I started doing the music business, and it just progressed along the way, doing more festivals, fairs, and then getting involved with opening for lots of big name artists, and have gotten to where I am today. A few years ago, I won my first songwriting award, and then I was considered an award-winning songwriter for the first time. And so that kind of caught on with some other uh, award shows in Nashville. And this year I was nominated for International Singer-Songwriter Association and as an emerging artist. And I'll also be nominated here at the Josie Music Awards again. I can't tell you the category yet. They're finalizing stuff. And then I'm also uh, in the John Lennon songwriting contest. I love music. It's been a part of me. Um, that's my legacy. I've often tried different paths in life. I have a degree in archaeology, so I have tried different paths, but they all lead back to music. It doesn't matter what I do. For some reason, I always end up in music. And so futuristically, we're going to do some tours. We're going to do some shows. We got new music coming out. Um, you'll be hearing soon. And then I think from there, it's just you keep climbing. You're gonna get knocked down a few times, but you keep climbing up. And I think that people often have a picture of what success in the top is. And I often thought that I did, but sometimes you get to a point where you're like, I'm really like I've done things and other people haven't done that. And I'm like, I'm really starting to accomplish things that I didn't think I could. So everybody has a different top of the mountain where you can look out and say, I've accomplished what I feel I need to accomplish. And I would just say my top of the mountain is not yet. So I'm just going to keep pushing. I have a long history of music in my family. My grandma and her sisters actually played at the Grand Ole Opry, and they were a gospel group. And they went there, and they were supposed to open for Hank Snow and all these different bands. So they wanted them to be a regular on the Grand Ole Opry. And one of my aunts said, "I just can't do this. I can't be it. I'm homesick." So they played, but they never stayed on it, which is really sad. But they did get to do it. And then my mother was a choir director. My dad sang lot of church involvement, and then like I said, I started singing, and then I also was worship leader in church and did a lot of things involved with the music business. And it's as long far back as I can remember, my mom at bedtime or anything, she would sing songs. Um, so a lot of my memories of my mom are walking around in the house singing these different songs, Christmas songs especially. And I think that that is a huge thing in my life that has always stayed with me. Um, my mom hardly ever missed one of my shows. She would come to all my shows. And so the day that the day before she passed away, I was nominated at the Grand Ole Opry to come, and I was able to tell her that. And she passed away the next day. But it took me about a year, and I just had this all this buildup, I guess, inside you, and it never really goes away. It's a lot of feelings, emotions, and different things, and I'm like, I've got to express this somehow, and I started writing things. They were dark things, they were quiet things, they were cheerful things, but it all came out, and I started writing these songs, and I think within a year I had written like 40 songs. Just a huge burst. I'm still writing stuff, and it was a lot of emotional things, and how I can express myself through writing, and I guess how I would say this reminds me of my mom. So then I came out with "Ain't Life a Beautiful Thing" because um, a lot of the things I went through is you're you're in a situation where you're kind of beating yourself up, I guess. Why did this happen? All these things, Um, she was too young, all these questions you have. And then one day I was outside, and it had rained, and then I saw the rainbow come over. And I said, man, I was like looking around, and I said, all these things in life, we live, we die, but there's so much to be thankful for, and so many beautiful things. And the words just came across me. It said, "Ain't life a beautiful thing?" I started writing, and that is a big song that means a lot to me. We're all going to lose people along the way. A lot of us have lost people, and that can put you down in the dumps. And I think that really just taking your focus off of, every day we have to go to work, we have to do these things, but you got to look around and see the beauty in everything. There's a reason we have all these things. Um, Regardless of what your belief is, I personally believe in God and know that God created all these things, and it was for our beauty, it was for our pleasure. All these beautiful things we get to see every day. And I think that if we can separate sometimes our ups and downs and look at the beauty around us, I think that we can find beauty in everything we do. There's a lot of people that are chasing after their dreams and goals. Um, it isn't easy. Life is never easy. But I believe that the minute you stop and the minute that you give up, that's when everything falls apart. And I believe that you just have to keep going. It doesn't matter how old you are. Um, it doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are, what you're going through. I just believe that if you keep going, you're going to get there. And It's like the top of the mountain. I think if you keep pushing, you'll be able to look out one day and say, I made it. And you'll be proud of yourself. So I encourage everyone listening, I encourage you to just keep going. Whatever you're facing in life, just keep going.
For Shore Perspectives and WESR Radio, I'm Kelley Gaskell.